Hey there everybody, welcome to another episode of Gideon's Tactical. Today we are checking out the Condor Outdoor Products Barracuda folding knife. So if you've known Condor, and this is not Condor Knife and Tool that make a lot of fixed blades out of El Salvador, this is Condor Outdoor Products that we know for a lot of molly gear, holsters, packs, that type of stuff. They have now broken into the folding knife department, and we're going to see today if this knife is of good quality and worth a purchase by you. This Condor Barracuda folding knife. Individual utility is what it says right there on the package. Individual utility. So let's see if it's worth it for you. Give you some basic specs here. We're looking at G10 handles, AUS 8 steel of a Rockwell hardness of 57 to 58. It is a liner lock. It has a lanyard hole. The overall length is 8 inches from tip to tip. It has a 3.3 inch blade, 4.5 inch handle, and weighs in at 4.3 ounces. Tip up, tip down, left or right pocket clip, thumb studs, and finger flipper hollow grind. So those are the basic specs that we have here for us today. And I'll just kind of talk about it overall. You know, Condor makes some really good, in my opinion, for us average Joes and weekend warriors, great tactical gear packs. I've had their EDC shoulder sling bag, some water bottle pouches, a backpack, and my tactical vest that I usually run and gun with is made by Condor, and I haven't had any issues with them really at all. And this knife, right off the bat, I'm going to tell you guys, there's really nothing wrong with it, but at the same time, there's really nothing great about it or good about it. It's just very middle of the road, and I'll show you why as we go through this review here. As you look here at the blade, you can see that it has a very unique design, very aggressive, over a spear point, almost into a reverse tanto with a hollow grind. Not bad. Razor sharp, really nice, good edge on there. AUS 8 steel is great. I love AUS 8. I prefer it over, 8CR13 MOV. It's made here in Taiwan, and it's just a great budget steel. I really like AUS 8, particularly from, say, Cold Steel and SOG. And what I've found is that there's really no difference with this Condor. This one's going to hold in a good edge as well as good as any SOG or Cold Steel would. So a little bit of a recurve in there. So for you maybe newbies out there, it will be slightly harder for you to resharpen. And I will say this: I do not gravitate towards this blade design. I don't really like how it looks. Looks aren't everything, but you gotta connect with the blade, and I just don't connect with this knife. I got it so I could review a brand new knife from Condor because I've liked their other products, and I just gotta say I just don't gravitate to that blade shape. It's very functional. It's just not cool and connects with me on a level more than just utility. A knife has to really connect with me for me to really enjoy carrying it and using it. Let's go ahead and go on to the deployment. You have the thumb studs and finger flipper, which a lot of you will like because those thumb studs are ambidextrous, perfectly aligned on either side. You can whip that out with authority, boom. I mean, I'm not even putting any wrist flick into that. Whoosh. I mean, just whips out there, and that's really, really nice. And then that finger flipper is the same thing. Boom, you just give it a slight wrist flick, boom. You can whip it every time and knock the box out of frame. So, regardless of which way you're doing it, the deploy is extremely smooth. It's got bronze washers in there, so it's going to be very tough, durable, in its lockup and its deployment, which is a really big plus. So the deployment is good. Nothing to complain about there. And again, there's nothing wrong with this knife, but there's really nothing right with this knife in the sense that, it's just like any other blade on the market. Nothing stands out. Nothing about this knife is like, man, that knife totally sucks. And nothing about this knife goes, wow, I really want to put that in my pocket, which is kind of sad because it doesn't, distinguish itself from any other knife on the market. But that is the deployment with both finger flipper or thumb studs. Then we go on to the liner lock, and you can see there that this liner lock is really, really thin. Hits 50% of the blade, but that is a very thin liner lock for such a big, honking, heavy kind of blade at 4.3 ounces. It's definitely a heavy blade. They're selling it to you as, a tactical folding folder, and that is not a tactical liner, let's put it that way. That's really thin. I'm sure it'll do fine for EDC tasks, but I wouldn't be doing, you know, self-defense use with that liner. It's just not there for me. I can move it out of the way really nice and easy. You know, there's no complaints there with it, you know, jamming over too far to one side or the other. 50% of the blade, I'm sure it's strong enough for all your EDC tasks, but I wouldn't say this is necessarily a tactical folder with the liner lock. Then as you look at the G10 handle scales, again, that's really nice. They're really nice and machined really well. You got these nice little, you know, notches in there, give it some flair, a little bit of a pop. It is ergonomic, feels good in my hand. Flow through design as well, which is really nice, even though it is over 4 ounces, which is pretty heavy for a 3.3-inch blade, which will be great for EDC or tactical use in that sense with the reach that you're getting. But again, just so heavy with such a thin lock. That's so odd to me. With that type of weight, you would expect it to just have a thicker liner lock there. But again, like I said, pillar construction, and then you got your lanyard hole. And then you have your pocket clip, which is very generic, very basic. It's not going to destroy your pockets. The G10 is kind of smooth. It's definitely not aggressive G10 by any means. You know, it is machined, like I said. And the angles, you know, are nice and smooth, feel good. You got jimping there along the spine. That is so-so, you know, not really a thumb ramp. It does something. And then that nice finger groove down here. So your lockup is good. My hand's not wanting to come off the end there. You know, overall with the pocket clip, again, tip up, tip down, left or right, that's a big plus as well. Again, nothing bad with this knife. Deploys well. It's going to function well. It is a little big and bulky in your pocket, a little clunky in your pocket, but it just doesn't connect and isn't any. It doesn't offer you anything that any other knife on the market could offer you. So let's do a little bit of EDC testing, see how it'll do, cutting some rope and cardboard and doing some carving on some wood, and see how it performs in that way, and then we'll wrap this thing up.
All right, so here we are in the backyard with the Barracuda, and just going to do some cutting on some nylon webbing here, very similar to seatbelt weave, you know, tough, durable, and boom, nice cutting with this Barracuda. Again, it cuts fine, doesn't stand out from the crowd in cutting. Didn't have a good grip on that one, but you know, with that little bit of a belly and recurve, I mean, it is going to go through that nylon, no problem. And be able to do, you know, your paracord cutting, you know, just nylon rope around a campsite, you know, something like that. This Barracuda from Condor will definitely be able to do without a problem. That actually slices really well through that cardboard. It's doing a really nice job. I'm not even putting any pressure on it. Cutting really nice with that hollow grind and that recurve. And that's just basic normal cardboard, and then we'll step it up here to some really thick, about double thick cardboard. Let's see how it cuts through that. You can see it'll do that as well. And the handle is very ergonomic in my hand. Again, I just don't gravitate towards how this thing looks. It just does not look very attractive. I don't like how bulky it is in my pocket. It's definitely a thick handle. But it's very comfortable in your hand, and ergonomically will not only be able to slice through really nice thick cardboard, but will feel good in your hand while you do it. Here at the wood pile out back, and you can see that's definitely feathering that dried pine, making some shavings really easily, no problems. You know, doing a really good job. So, you know, around the campsite, you know, it's going to do just fine. You know, carving, whittling, making a spear, or, you know, just getting some, you know, thin tinder for a fire. And again, that lockup is doing just fine, even though it is a really thin steel lock. You know, it's doing its job. It's holding it in there. The blade's not coming, you know, it's not loose, not wiggly, and isn't accidentally going to collapse on me while I cut this wood.
All right, everyone, so as you can see, it's going to do a good job, you know, with all those EDC type of tasks. And again, you can use this in almost any format you would like. If you are really digging the shape, maybe for you, you're like, man, that Barracuda looks sweet. Well, then pick this thing up. You won't regret it. There's nothing that I can say necessarily bad about it, except just the slight thinness in the liner lock. That's my only kind of nick and ding towards it. Everything else about it, you know, it's just a great basic blade. With that being said, you know, for 30 bucks, sure, why not? If you are liking the design, it does come serrated as well as the plain edge that you see before you. So for me, I mean, it's a 50-50, you know, 5 out of 10 for me. Sure, it's going to do good. You know, you're not going to really have any complaints, particularly, you know, if you're just using it for EDC type of tasks. But again, it's not striking. It's not going to, no one's going to go, whoa, let me check that out when you pull it out of your pocket there and go, cool. You know, so that's kind of how I feel about this knife. Cool. So hopefully this review has helped you guys out. Thanks for watching. Stay equipped, stay prepared, and we'll see you out there.